Hey YouTube, I'm Kenneth Ryan.
Lindsay Resop.
It's 1 in the morning. But we're back with the finale of Clockwork. We are on chapter 59 of 59, which...
Yay!
We started
It's been fun reading it. Kind of.
We'll reminisce when it's over.
A lot of the time it's been fun. It's fun because we get annoyed with it.
We started this over a year ago. Yeah. I mean, we would have finished sooner if we didn't take the 3-month hiatus the first semester of my second year of college. But oh boy, was I a busy person. Anywho.
And we also did have things we were doing in between for a while.
And then we finally decided we were just going to power through it. So now we're powering through it, and we're almost done, and it's weird. But holy shit, here we go. We are beginning for the last time Clockwork by KTX Replica. Take it away.
Okay. Silver stared at his warped, distorted reflection thoughtfully. It's weird hearing myself reading things because that last chapter was just you. Sighing, he sat on the edge of the basin on the fountain. This is where Silver is, but Gold supposedly is going to know where he is, but he's sitting on a fountain.
Supposedly.
Cool marble, and filled with jewel-like pebbles in the bottom.
Hold on.
People put pebbles in fountains, usually?
I don't know. Money, maybe.
Usually it's just like the stone of the fountain.
It's decorative for the wedding.
I guess. It was rather quaint and very proper in its old-fashioned design. Sweeping and arching up into the sky with an angel spreading its frozen wings for eternity. Okay. Desperately wishing to embrace the heavens with its leaden feathers. Why is that a new sentence? It was ironically, in retrospect to this, a wishing fountain. But it was beautiful. Why is that ironic?
I don't know.
Isn't that fitting?
I guess.
Whatever. Silver snorted as he spied a couple cents in the shimmering base before turning back to face Faulkner. Why are you snorting that there's money in the wishing fountain?
I'm above that. It's his haughtiness.
I guess. The archer tilted his navy head to one side in confusion as he contemplated the issue presented before him.
I don't understand, Silver. You say your life is determined and fixed. Clockwork.
The Clockwork. Final chapter.
Final chapter, second paragraph. Clockwork.
How many more times?
Interviewing KT. I don't actually want to make fun of the person. But the meme, first of all, this, so jot that down. Honestly, the meme for this fic would be, first of all, Clockwork, so jot that down. But I don't see that in you. You're more free than a single bird with all the liberty in the world.
What?
Do you want... I guess I should. We have a method.
Yes.
Silver shrugged at this. He couldn't see it otherwise. Faulkner ran a hand through his hair, making it stick slightly up at the back of his head.
So is he running his hand from this
Oh, maybe. Chewing on the inside of his cheek, Faulkner tried to express himself in a more elaborate terms. Faulkner knew he wasn't a philosopher. That was Morty. He was an athlete. He spoke 1,000 words with a single arrow alone, and right now Faulkner wished Silver knew what he wanted to say. You just shoot him with an arrow. I could say it.
I'm going to transfer my feelings to you. Bang. Oh, I suddenly understand what you mean.
It all makes sense. The redhead waited patiently as he watched his friend scrounge round for the right words. Hopeless, endearing, and helplessly lost with what he wanted to say, Faulkner decided to be the arrow and say what he could.
What?
I just wanted to make sure we were at the last chapter, honestly. Silver,
It's a long chapter.
I know you've been brought up the difficult way by an uncaring, unloving father and no mother.
His mother
loved
7.
him. His mother was a good woman until
old
she
was
was
she?
murdered. I don't remember.
When she died?
Young, I think 10 at the oldest. My father was stern and strict, and my mother left him because he just couldn't see love the way she did. He was cruel to me, too. My training was a result of who I am now, but he loved me so much as well. Yet he desperately wanted me to grow up to be proud a man.
A proud man.
To be proud a man.
Oh, to be proud of man.
Who could handle himself. I owe him a lot. You, on the other hand, were abused and kicked around, so you became inward. You began to hate yourself for not being who your father wanted you to be.
But he doesn't want to be who his father wanted him to be.
My dad always told me to be proud of who you were. He raised hunting eagles, too, and told me, Faulkner, see this cruel beak? See these awful talons? See the power, muscle in the power? See how proud it looks? See how it holds its head high and chest thrown out because it knows what it is? a stone cold killer.
Eagles aren't stone cold killers.
Do you see it?
They're hunters, they're predators, but they're not stone cold killers.
No, eagles are the only bird in the animal kingdom to kill for fun. Don't you know this?
Are they?
I'm making this up!
Like, I don't know. For all I know, it could be. But, like, I don't think so.
No, actually, that would probably be ravens.
Probably.
No, crows are cool. I like
Yeah,
them.
true.
Silver sat down on the edge of the fountain wall
Wasn't
and
he already
watched
sitting?
the archer wave his hand about theatrically.
This isn't a touchscreen.
Yes. Yes, he was sitting. Sighing, he
Yeah,
sat.
he's sitting. But now he's sat.
Now he's sitting down again. Faulkner stood in front of the mercury-eyed male and looked down at him
Mercury.
kindly. Silver gazed back up at him, willing his friend to continue. I said, yes, father, I do see it. He seemed pleased by my answer, but not by the boy he saw. So I worked to become the man he wanted in me. Until I realized I could become someone else. You were brought up to know one day you were going to die and that you had a duty to fulfill. But now you live a different life to that one.
When did he ever accept that duty? Never. He didn't believe that he had a duty to fulfill, ever.
No, he fucking hated his dad, he hated his life, he hated everything. He was like the poster child for like hating.
Yeah, for rebelling from teen angst.
Jesus Christ.
He never wanted to be what his father wanted to
Right?
be. Ever.
This has nothing to do with his upbringing, Faulkner. You're just speaking out of your ass. A different life. That alone sounded foreign to him, and Silver loved the sound of his freedom. So close he could taste it, but first he had to get through his own mind to obtain that final nirvana. This is making me think of that fucking... You know the picture of, like, the lady laying in the puddle with, like, the big gulp cup? And, like, someone posted on Tumblr with, like, the comment, like, this is, like, I want to be where she is. I want to be this peaceful. And someone commented, this bitch laying in a dirty puddle holding a big gulp, and you're talking about nirvana and some shit. This is what I'm thinking about with this fic. It's just like, it's so close, but I have to get through my own mind to achieve nirvana. But there had been ups and downs, and essentially that his journey had been rocky and full of hardships. Silver knew he
Rocky
wanted
makes
to
me
dearly
gasp, right?
forget. It clawed up inside of him, telling him that it was perhaps time to move on. Nevertheless, moving on was a huge step for him. Being sheltered all his life, albeit in a sick, twisted way, he has survived due to others, and this time...
You ran away at, like, however you're old and lived on the streets by yourself for however long, and then you...
The fic started with you walking in front of a car. Just as a reminder.
The end, it was all a dream. He wakes up from his coma.
This is just him dying. Silver wanted to do it all on his own, sure with support, but it was time to pretty much pull his socks up and enter the adult world. God damn it, both of these final chapters are them both accepting what it means to be a man. What a dumb plot line.
That's true.
Thus, Faulkner did have a very valid point,
from here.
and Silver vaguely wondered if he was going to be able to ingrain that philosophy into his mind. That sense
Why
of
is
duty
it
was still
thus?
there, but not because he was trapped in the past, but because he felt like he still needed to atone for the horrors his father's organization had caused.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, sure.
In a sense,
Survivor's guilt.
that was self-defeating, as it meant he was still clinging by a spider's thread to his awful childhood.
Mm-hmm.
But he was get over it.
Going to?
But he was get over it. Period. He had to. Silver was determined to do so. Faulkner flapped his arms experimentally, and Silver chuckled at the diminutive attention span his friend possessed. Faulkner never held anything for long in his mind unless it considered archery, Morty, and birds.
Why is birds a thing?
Because Faulkner's the bird Pokemon trainer from
yeah.
the second game
I mean, yeah, I knew that.
series. Faulkner looked up at the sky and dropped his arms with a sigh and grinned down at Silver. I used to believe that one day I was going to fly. My father used to smack me and tell me to get over it because humans are biologically incapable of flying.
I think you can fly in an airplane. But
Yeah.
they all flew.
That's true.
Yeah. Silver replied, propping his hand on his chest before reaching round to pull his long, dark, foxy red hair out of the way of the fountain spray with a small, quick movement. Falconer gave him such a wistful smile and looked up at the glimmering stars and the shiny dollar moon. I thought it was 3/4.
Well,
It's suddenly full. It's a full moon.
the moon decided for the drama of it all it had to be a full moon, so it changed.
With much pain evident on his features, Silver gave the cool night lights sparing scrutiny. Never really having much time or love for such things, but was taken painfully sweetly back to the night where Gold yanked him up to the roof in Viridian to watch shooting stars streak across the sky.
So many throwbacks to, like,
Yeah.
chapter 10.
Yeah. Silver then wondered if Gold had made a wish then. He hadn't. He wished he had, but the moment had been so quick he hadn't had time to think of one. But then again, that was what made wishes fleeting and special. They were the spur-of-the-moment thing, but at the same time they needed to believe in the dream to understand their wants and desires and therefore develop a dream. Silver knew now, after all that time, he knew his one last true wish. A happy ending was his wish.
Get it? Because it's the last chapter.
Cheesy, yes. But Silver knew that when he was younger, he had read some fairy tales. Not just any fairy tales, but the classical ones. The ones with the unhappy endings. Because he knew there was no such thing as happily ever after. Yet, the knights in shining armor, handsome princes sweeping princesses off their feet and riding into the sunset, somehow became locked within his mind, despite the gory moral endings of the original tales. Well, the originals still sometimes had happy endings.
Yeah, they weren't all terrible.
I mean, yeah, like Cinderella, the stepsisters like cut off their toes and to try and fit in the slipper, and their eyes are eaten out by birds.
They deserved
and
it.
stuff.
They were fucking awful.
And like the Little Mermaid and stuff do have unhappy endings because she turns into sea foam and like,
Cinderella gets the prince, though.
yeah.
She's fine. It's her sisters who just get screwed over. But they were also jerks, so really...
So yeah, and like Little Red Riding Hood, I don't know. They like cut open the wolf and then fill him with stones and he dies falling down the stairs.
Wow.
Or something like that.
But
Did you do a thing on that, or was it someone else who was doing it for like speech class?
I gave a speech about Red Riding in the Hood.
I think that was what you were researching during study hall or
Oh
something.
yes, I was looking up the original tale, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, some of them do have happy endings. Well, they're not happy endings, but they're good endings.
Good for the main characters.
Yeah, okay. He had deep down so believed in them, and then had that stolen in an instant due to the naivety of his mind. But now, it felt like he could believe in that again. But more importantly, Silver wanted to ask Gold if he had ever wished upon a star properly. Silver returned his attention back to the forlornly flapping form of Faulkner. That's an alliteration. Who looked so desperate to take off it was comical. Snorting softly, Silver brushed several strands of wine-red hair out of his mercury steel eyes. Faulkner stopped slowly and sent the redhead a wry and astonishingly sad smile. It was a bit disconcerting to see such a lonely expression on the happy and exuberant archer's features. Faulkner rolled his shoulders a little, casting the moon another longing glance before speaking.
When is Gold going to show up? Because I don't care about this.
Yeah,
I want to know what...
I didn't really care about Morty and Gold either.
I need to know what Silver has to tell Gold.
What Morty thinks Silver has to tell Gold.
Maybe, not really. But I don't count upon it anymore because man can't fly on his own. It's impossible. I'd love to, but I cannot. It was a childish dream, and to be honest, I need to grow up and forget my naive connections.
I mean, you could eventually probably make something that's big enough and then
If
flaps
the Wright
correctly.
brothers gave up on their dream of flying, we wouldn't have airplanes. Never give up on your dreams, Faulkner. Galadriel out. Silver shook his head, surprised that the navy-haired archer was so closed-minded on the topic. Reaching out, Silver poked Faulkner in the ribs, and the brunette inched away with a
Brunette.
jerk. A soft giggle escaping his lips.
What was that one that I told you once? It was like noirette or something.
Oh yeah, noirette.
It's like, what kind of word is that? I mean, the black-haired or something, but the noirette.
Brunette is still so stupid.
And they use, like, the feminine form for every single hair color, because if it has an E on the end, it means a woman.
Silver loosely twisted his waist-length hair, shining a dark bronze wine color in the muted, soft light of the summer evening. Oh, what a good time to drink.
Yep. You are flying, Faulkner, just not in the literal sense you think. Faulkner gaped at him, and Silver waved at him a bit to notify him of his manners. Faulkner shut his flapping jaw and cleared his throat before motioned to the red head to walk and talk. Silver stood, casting the gorgeous wishing fountain one last look. Digging in his pockets, Silver found several coins that were typical loose change. Tossing Faulkner a few, Silver grinned at him shyly. With me? Faulkner looked down at the dirty, well-used coins in his hand, and I thought it was dirty well, but that's not well. Dirty, well-used coins in his hand, and chuckled with a good-natured shake of his head.
You know better than I do that this doesn't work. We aren't dreamers, Sylv. I hate that nickname. It
is a terrible nickname. And Faulkner seems like the person who would totally throw coins in a wishing fountain.
What is with this the 270? The Clockwork 270.
And Silver's being all optimistic. Hey, dreams can begin small. You just have to wish hard enough. God, that sounds like total sap.
Where are we?
I don't know.
What is going on
threw back
with their personalities?
Before groaning and pressing his knuckles into his forehead at how ridiculous they're making this out to be. And Faulkner dipped his head in acknowledgement. He couldn't argue with that kind of wisdom. Together, they turned back to the frozen angel, perched flightless, frozen in mockery of its journey to the pale moon. The pale and watery moon... I don't know, the pale moon, something in her anger.
But soft with light on yonder window breaks.
I can't just jump into the middle of that monologue. The moon, pale in her anger, washes all the air that rheumatic diseases do abound, and thorough this
I only have memorized
hoary-headed frosts fall,
the
fresh
Titan
lap
cut,
of the crimson rose, and a flowery crown on old Hiem, a flowery something on old Hiem's thin and icy brow, and I don't know.
I know a version
at the beginning. I might remember.
I know a version of that monologue that is.
Literally
a paragraph.
Yeah, mine was 1.5 minutes long. I'm just talking.
I know. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I was there for that.
Not waiting for his friend, knowing they were on the same wavelength already. Oh, by the way, I have the Midsummer Night's Dream thing. I found that DVD.
Oh, I have that too.
I found it though.
Nice.
Wavelength already. Silver closed his eyes, made a wish, and tossed the coins into the gentle, star-flecked blanket of water. If the stars are reflecting off the surface of the water, how can you see the stones on the bottom? They just forget it's night half the time.
I think so.
Sighing, Silver looked over to Faulkner, who stood, staring at the coins in his hand.
Oh my god.
What's wrong, bird brain?
Jesus.
Redhead teased gently. And Faulkner glanced up at him before pressing the coins back into Silver's palm, his expression gentle but firm. Silver looked down at their hand. Their hand. And Faulkner made sure he took the coins before backing up, declining.
You make it.
I can't do another. It won't be valid, then. That is not a rule. Silver responded, weighing the coins in his hand.
I don't need any wishes. Faulkner said simply, smiling, and Silver then realized what he meant and couldn't help his own from breaking out across his face.
His own?
Smile.
Oh.
That's right. Faulkner already had all he ever wanted. He had Morty. He was engaged to Morty.
Yeah.
Your life is not defined by men being in your life or a lack of men being in your life. Get that nasty thought out of your head. He was in his prime for archery. Okay. His passion, and now all he could do was soar higher with those large, glossy wings.
What large, glossy wings?
Did you like just sprout wings? Silver set the coins down on the side of the fountain. He didn't mind if someone else came along and took it, to make a wish or just for the sake of the fact that it was money. You sold your TV to pay bills.
And your hairdryer.
I think you'd want to keep those coins.
Your hair dryer that you probably sold for like $10 max. 15 maybe.
Faulkner seemed happy enough with his choice as he bounced along beside the redhead, animated as they meandered through the rose gardens to the main swimming pool of the resort. Standing and looking into the aquamarine depths of the softly lit pool, Silver turned to Faulkner.
The pool would be locked. There'd be like a gate around it that'd be locked or something.
I'm just thinking about these fucking metaphors this fic is using. They're stretches.
And everyone's just looking into water. The ocean, the fountain, the pool, the toilet.
The drama. It's for the drama.
Oh. And now you're soaring, he commented. And Faulkner gave a snort and mimed a bird spreading its wings and sailing on the warm wind updrafts. Silver raised his eyebrows, and Faulkner gave him a friendly wink in response.
But in all honesty, Silver, you have the world at your feet. You can do anything.
Not really. Silver hesitated, and Faulkner gave him a look that read, "Deny it, and I will smack you into this pool." Silver knew he couldn't do everything. It wasn't rocket science. It was
music theory.
Truth. And Silver had to admit he wanted to squash this cynical part out of himself. But he couldn't stop himself. I can't bring back the dead.
Why are you getting this deep, Jesus fucking Christ.
I want to fly. You're soaring now. You can do anything you want to do. I can't bring back the dead.
I hate this.
He muttered, and Faulkner immediately knelt down, splashing him with a quick, slicing motion from his hand. The redhead shied away with a cry as the cool pool water hit him, and Faulkner sighed heavily from his crouched position. Silver knew he was mildly disappointed in him for being so negative. You were just all about, oh, we can make wishes. Wishes can start small, too, and blah, blah, blah.
We were a Disney Channel original movie, and now we're Clockwork again.
But that was how he truly felt. He wanted to reverse time so badly, to watch those scars off of Faulkner fade. What scars does Faulkner have?
I don't remember. I don't care.
The slash on Green's face fade. The cuts on Red's hands and arms go. He wanted to see Morty perform in the Nationals again like he always used to. You've known him for 1 year. You only saw him once. In Nationals.
Morty.
It wasn't even Nationals. It was like the World Tournament.
I know.
For Riley to see his husband Stephen once more. Blue to see White smiling, and for all those who he had known in those stadium walls to suddenly walk back into their lives like they should have, but were so cruelly taken. He wanted... That sentence didn't really make sense. Ellipsis. He wanted to see the scars on Gold's chest disappear.
Oh, hey.
The burn on
Acid
his leg. The shrapnel web netting across his back.
The shrapnel's not in there anymore, honey.
Maybe a little.
Probably not most of it.
But it's the shrapnel web. It's scarring from shrapnel.
He's fine.
That gunshot wound he inflicted himself that nodded as a painful, passionate reminder that he had shot Gold out of a moment of insanity. It reminded him that Gold was just as flawed as he was now, scars all over, and Silver laughed bitterly, wondering how they could look at one another without revulsion. But that was the sheer beauty of it all. They were so damaged physically, they could only turn to take comfort in each other. Scars aren't that bad. Being scarred doesn't mean, oh, I'm disgusted by you and not.
It's a problematic way of thinking, to begin with.
People with scars, people love people with scars. I don't really know.
I have a scar.
I don't really know anyone with, like, expensive scars or anything like.
I have two, actually.
Bad. Like what?
I got one super tiny. I got a super tiny one on my wrist from when I ran my hand through a window when I was like 10. And I've got one on the side of my head from when I tripped and hit my head on the corner of you know how our fireplace at my parents' house has a ledge? I hit my head on the corner of that.
Probably have scars somewhere.
And I definitely have a scar from that. Oh, and I have scars on my knees from when I performed in Sleepy Hollow, and I fell on my knees, and I cut them open.
I have, like, acne scars.
Oh, I got that, too. We don't talk about that.
But yeah, like, people with, like, burns all over their face. People still love them.
Right, it's not like that takes away the ability to love.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know anyone with, like, really bad scarring for any reason that I know of. I don't know. People, you never know what's on someone's clothes, I guess, but It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, you're scarred, so you're disgusting to me now.
Right,
No.
I'm saying that's problematic.
It is problematic. Silver swallowed and wiped his face where pool water clung to his chin. So if he's standing and Falconer's like kneeling down for the pool, how high did he get that water? Dripping off his nose, and Falconer eyed him cautiously, as if unsure what the redhead was going to do or say. He's going to kick him into the pool. The moment of tension passed, and the navy-haired archer posed another, lighter question.
Enough of it now. What do you want to do now, Silver? Silver thought for a while. He was honestly quite content with his life as of now, waking up every morning next to Gold, having breakfast with him, Green and Red, and then down to the salon to help Pearl and Bruno with the daily appointments and all. But he felt like he could do so much more than just helping Crystal sort out her new hairdo. Silver cast his thoughts about for something. A anchor point.
A anchor?
That hurt me. To begin his research on what exactly he wanted to do. And found the spotlight shining brightly on a single person whom he loved so much, and if he knew if he had died. Silver knew he would have relapsed badly in response and possibly has a worse reaction than he had with Gold. Oh, it's not Gold. Who was it? Who is it? Green. Green. It was all thanks to a single man called Green Oak, who had single-handed pulled him through the void. The void just makes me think of fucking memes at this point. That bridge between this new world and his past and set him straight. Now you're pretty gay, Silver. The darkness had crept and tried to engulf him, but Green stayed as his light, stubbornly refusing to let it take him. And when Green had left as a wreck, Gold, also a light, had suffered from the loss of the psychologist, and therefore had dimmed, making both their days of their past year darker than it should have been. Silver shuddered and wondered how Red must have felt. Red must have felt anger, so much anger at the world for turning him into what he had become. Red was an animal. That's rude.
It's true, though.
I know. And there was no nicer way to say it. He was a wild beast that snorted, growled, snapped, and purred, and he tore, ripped, and killed like one as well, glorying in the power he held with his crimson, eerie eyes, and yet his original nature was incapable of harming a flea. Everything is so long-winded. Red was like some exotic, dangerous feline that instead of eating you, had chose to come down to snuggle. Green, however, had never been intimidated by Red from the start, and that was what Silver admired most about the brunette. Green was fearless.
Green has, like, tons of phobias.
Rule number 15. We do white laundry on Wednesdays and colored on Mondays.
That's not really a fear, but...
It was because of him. I'm sorry.
What is he afraid of?
Germs.
Blood.
Blood.
Was he afraid of flying? Was he anxious about flying? Was that something?
He gets seasick.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I think he has travel fears. It was
water.
Water.
That made me think of Avatar. For some reason, water. Earth. Fire, air, or something. I don't know. These are the four elements.
These are the four elements.
Just the way it was just water. It made me think of that.
I'm just for some reason I'm thinking of the fucking Vine where the girl gets the water bottle poured at her. Hello? It was because of him. Silver knew was who he was now as a person.
Knew was who he was now as a person.
Of course, Gold and Red helped, but not in the same way Green had so patiently coaxed him through, putting him through the steps. Well, it's almost like he's a professional.
Therapist, yes.
Encouraging him to make the next big step in his development. Silver pushed his damp hair out of his face and stared.
How is his hair so damp? He splashed you once.
I think the author retconned it.
Is he a water bender? It's just like a wave.
Encouraging him to... Oh, shit. Silver pushed his damp hair out of his face and stared into the depths of the pool calmly. Green was a psychologist.
Yes.
It's almost... What's amazing about this is, like, he's coming to the realization that getting professional help, remarkably enough, helped him through his mental problems, as if he never considered that seeing a medically trained professional who deals with mental health issues would help improve his mental health issues. This is the most amazing thing I've read, because it's like, duh, water is wet. Green was a psychologist, new to his job but excellent at what he did. He was kind, sweet, caring, incurably brave, and with a heart of pure solid gold and nerves of fucking steel. That's a lie.
Nerves of steel.
He's nervous all the time.
But this sounds like almost exactly how Gold describes
Right?
Silver.
Silver couldn't believe now that he thought about it. Someone like Green existed. He was perfect in every aspect.
Okay.
Gentle with all, including Gold, even when at the start, where the stocky young man got into fits of rage, Green would stand fearlessly up to
You
him.
can't describe him as stocky and then make him like taller than like everyone
I
else.
know. Trusting Gold with all his being not to hurt him, because he knew deep down Gold wouldn't dare.
I don't know if that's what he was doing.
And I
Trusting
don't think
him.
so either. Silver knew Green was a saint, an angel, and Red was totally smitten with him. And who wouldn't be?
They all want Green.
Green was
Everyone wants
gorgeous,
Green.
and even with that scar across his face, it did not mar his features in a negative way at all. Wow, it's almost like you can be scarred and beautiful. Amazing. Food for thought, you know? Food for thought. In fact, it was barely visible, and it amused the redhead to no end to know Green fussed over it because it made his face non-symmetrical.
Asymmetrical, how about? It's a word.
Shaking the irrelevant information. Thank you for I hate this. They give you irrelevant information and then rub it in your face that it's irrelevant.
It's like, oh, this didn't matter at all.
Like, you already know when you're reading it that it doesn't matter, but they're like, hey, by the way, what we just said is not important at all. Shaking the irrelevant information about his psychologist to one side, Silver focused on what the benefits were from the brunette's position. He could help people just like himself. He could do something like that. He felt like he could
He's
help...
gonna become a psychologist.
Jesus Christ. He felt like he could help others change for the better, for the best, to find the best in themselves and help them see that they're precious, that they would be wanted too. Silver knew there were billions of crying souls out there, screaming into the darkness like he had once been. No one hearing because they couldn't be bothered to listen. You're gonna become like a fucking saint and like go to like Mother Teresa's, do Mother Teresa shit, and like, actually she was a great person,
Yeah.
and Silver could never be Mother Teresa even if he tried. But like,
Silver's already Mother Teresa, according to the Gold and these people and stuff.
no, they're lying. Silver wanted to become one of those who would listen and turn the screams into something softer. Laughter.
Laughter doesn't need to be softer. Laughter can be pretty dang.
Silver smiled to himself and looked up at the archer who had stood, standing by the edge of the pool, illuminated by the lighting. Faulkner scratched the back of his knee with his foot as he waited for Silver's response.
There would no lights. The lights would be off. I want to help people, Faulkner.
In what way? There's so many ways in which you can help people.
I guess. I'd want to be someone like Green. I want to help people who used to be like me and show them it's possible to open a new chapter and live a better quality of life. Quality of life. Silver murmured as he rubbed his arms as the summer breeze rolled by soothingly. Faulkner let out a little coughing laugh, and Silver raised his eyebrows at him.
I'm sorry, Sylv. Just, that takes a lot of patience and effort, and...
I know. I think I'm ready for it. I've been round Green.
You're 12.
I've been round Green
Actually,
long
you're like
enough to see
20.
how I would have to be. I know I don't have any qualifications, though. I'm not that smart, so I guess doing this would be difficult. It would be difficult for him.
He just said that.
Silver knew because of his involvement with Team Rocket. No one would be willing to teach him at all. You go to college, and no one knows who you are.
Holy shit.
No one would be like,
How many people actually know you're from Team Rocket? Not many.
that your dad wasn't, that was the leader of Team Rocket.
Also, you're not associated with Team Rocket.
No one knows of your involvement with them at all.
You weren't even involved. You were just like abused by them and raised by them because that's who your father was, but you didn't do shit for them.
And people are like, oh, you're the son of this terrible person. We're not going to accept you to this college.
because obviously you too are a terrible... Like, no, people aren't like that.
Let alone a university take him. He had been lucky that Pearl and Bruno were non-judgmental.
Fun fact, they probably didn't know you were Giovanni's son. Nor do they care. You'd probably be like, hey, Giovanni was my dad. They'd be like, really? Dude, that's fucked. That'd probably be it.
Yeah, this isn't an issue that they're making it out to be.
God.
Oh, my dad was Giovanni. No one will teach me, and I can never get into a good college because my dad was a dick. And
like, just like
that's not how life works.
No, like I'm just thinking.
People don't care that much.
Like let's say.
Unless, the dean of admissions their daughter was murdered by Giovanni
but even
in front
then,
of them or something.
Why would they take it out on the son who had nothing to do with it? Some people would, but it's
grief and it's anger and whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's unlikely to happen.
Right,
and if it is, there's another college.
Right.
Because not everybody was affected in personal ways by this.
Mm-hmm. Well, we forget that billions of people attended the World Tournament.
True. The redhead sighed, braiding a section of his dark, foxy hair together in resignation. Faulkner didn't seem like he was going to give up on the idea just yet. Snapping his fingers to get the mercury-eyed male's attention, the navy-haired archer cleared his throat as if he were making some grand speech. In Silver's opinion, Faulkner always had something to say. He spoke his mind, and that was what he really admired about the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
It was something he always found difficult to do. Just up and say what he thought. Sometimes Faulkner never thought before he spoke, but that was what made him so passionate and honest.
If there is one person in the world who can make things happen, it's you.
What?
No, seriously, I hate to bring it up again. I hate this topic as much as you do, but you motivated the people, us athletes back there, Silver. You stood against us when we were fighting and put forth your own argument. It was amazing, and I feel like I want to see that independent person again.
Why is he not... What?
Silver, shy and humbled,
looked
down at his feet, unable to accept Faulkner's heavy praise of him. Was that really praise?
Yes.
He was just kind of like...
You're a good public speaker, and you can motivate people. Yeah.
Faulkner sighed, and Silver was mildly surprised when Faulkner tilted his face up, one hand under his chin in a gentle gesture of trust.
The other way around.
Maintaining intense eye contact for several moments,
kiss.
Silver looked away again, and Faulkner nudged him on the cheek with a knuckle to regain the lost attention. Look at me.
Faulkner.
Silver, look at me. Just for once, be selfish and accept the praise. Stop being so damn modest all the time. It's sweet of you, but really... Faulkner huffed, releasing his friend to turn away, to run a hand through his long fringe, detangling it. Silver crossed his arms, hugging himself somewhat. He had never been that sort of person, though. If someone had told him they liked his hair, he would... Silver knew he would most likely avert his eyes and tell them thank you in a small voice or something along those lines. Remember, this is the new
Silver. He'd probably just flip him off. Or
Chapter 1, Silver had been like, oi, fuck off, mate. I want to go hit by a car. Smoke 2 cigarettes as he walks into the street, not caring. Sighing, he raised his head and looked at the navy-haired male and smiled.
Thanks, but I can't do that. Faulkner rolled his eyes at the typical Silver response and pretended to observe the nearby tropical plant that was blooming sweet white flowers with a yellow heart. Silver sighed and looked down at his reflection, unsure if he felt developed enough to become someone like Green or not. Do you reflect at night really that much? I don't know.
It's a pool.
Deciding to talk to Green about his ideas later, Silver looked up at the bright, pale moon with a soft hum of approval. The night was always calming to him. He worked well during these times because less people were around, and he could think more clearly, hey, it's exactly like gold.
One day you're going to have to learn, the archer commented loftily as he bent over the pool slightly to get a closer look at the tile pattern on the floor, frowning as the water distorted the image. Unable to resist, Silver moved forwards and nudged Faulkner in the small of his back, neatly overbalancing him face first into the pool with a foamy crash. Snickering, Silver moved well out... I think they're forgetting they're at a pool, not a beach. Even though they mentioned pool. Snickering, Silver moved well out of the way as Faulkner resurfaced, explosively spluttering, sloshing water about and slicking his hair back out of his face. Oh god. Run BTS 13 or 14.
Man.
Ah, what a good time! He looked so good at that. They all looked so
Yeah.
good. The water park was a good time for them.
Yeah.
Clinging to side and looking up at the redhead blearily, Faulkner let out a string of curses before hurling himself up and hauling himself up and failing as his waterlogged clothes held him down. Laughing, Silver came forwards to help him. Grasping Faulkner by the biceps, Silver hauled him out, cringing as the navy-haired male purposefully soaked him. Silver only just caught the devious smile on his best friend's feature before he was yanked into the pool, toppling together into the water. Silver shrieked. Surfacing with a cough, Silver splashed Faulkner, who was laughing as he treaded the water easily. Hissing at him, Silver paddled to the edge and clung there, sorting his long hair out in annoyance before moving to the ladder and slowly dragging himself out, clothes making everything 10 times harder. Faulkner still laughed at him, and Silver flipped him off.
Bitch.
Ditto. Faulkner retorted as he began to swim over as Silver just crawled out of the pool to sit on the edge, soaked through, wringing his hair out with a huff. He looked up as he heard someone approaching, and hoped to God it wasn't anyone they knew, or anyone who knew them. His heart stopped as Gold stood over him, looking highly amused about the whole scenario. Silver decided then and there he was glad he wasn't religious, because if he was, he would be seriously reconsidering his faith due to the fact that some higher power was out to get him. What? Why?
Because he's so embarrassed that he was pulled in the pool and he's wet, and Gold has seen him like this.
Gold has seen you naked.
Yeah.
Nothing will surprise him at this point.
Yeah.
Fate was cruel, and Silver felt like it always wanted to make a point of contradicting him. Gold raised an eyebrow slowly, flushing scarlet in response. Well, it seemed to be his body and its natural response to Gold now. Silver knew he looked awful at the moment, turned away from his lover, still twisting his hair like cloth to wring the water out of it, squeezing it here and there to rid it. God, his hair soaked up water like a sponge. Silver narrowed his eyes in concentration. Faulkner splashed about for a while before paddling to the side. He then clung to the ladder like a monkey, not yet ready to get out of the pool. Gold looked at them both, flicking his gaze back and forth between the two. Confusion etched on his lips, and Faulkner beat him to the question. Silver, why did you push me in the pool? Pool. Silver tossed his now wrung-out rope of dark wine hair over his shoulder with a snort.
You deserved it. Your fault for standing so close to the edge where it's tempting to do that kind of thing. Oh, we're having a serious, deep conversation about not being able to live up to my dreams.
Whoops!
And whoopsies, there you go. The mercury-eyed male explained, and Faulkner made a small of realization and giggled, pointing at the redhead triumphantly from his perch on the ladder.
But I got you back, so we're even. Do I even want to know? Gold cut over their playful banter, and Faulkner winked at the hawk-eyed male cheekily.
We're not going to see green or red at all.
Probably not.
Their sex scene is going to be the last thing we have to remember them by, and I hate that.
I hate that too. Gold twisted his lips into something akin to a smirk. Or it's going to be like a thing
where like they're going to be walking back to the hotel, and Green and Red will be standing there waiting for them in the light of like something.
And like the last line will be like, and I knew everything was going to be all right.
Or someone saying like, let's go home, or something like that.
Or like something along the lines like, we're a family. Cheesy. Yeah, this is like cheesy 90s sitcom. Gold twisted his lips into something akin to a smirk and a line of disapproval. Faulkner hauled himself out of the pool with a groan. Squeezing out his clothes as he spoke, Faulkner gave Gold a sneaky look out of the corner of his eyes. Perhaps. The way you put it intrigues me now, Gold commented with his arms crossed as he stood next to Silver, who sat adjusting his clothes.
When I go like over here.
Yeah.
A bit.
Sat adjusting his clothes. Faulkner cackled, and Silver promptly plugged his ears, not wanting to hear it himself, because Faulkner was totally going to blow the story way out of proportion. Faulkner crowed? Mm-hmm. Crowed and yanked one of Silver's fingers out of his ear. We were going to go skinny dipping.
We were not.
But Silver got too excited and didn't bother stripping.
You got excited, Silver retorted, yanking his hand out of Faulkner's grasp.
Excuse me, who pushed me in?
Me, but that's besides the point. You were there. It was a perfect opportunity, so I took it. Don't give me the kicked puppy look. No. No. I am not falling for that, Silver said, looking away.
I fucking hate this.
What is happening? This is not them at all.
What is the plot of this last arc?
As the navy-haired archer attempted to win him and his attention back with a startlingly, in Gold's opinion, accurate impression of a dog that did something naughty. He redhead rolled his eyes and shoved his friend away gently. God, Faulkner, you're such a pest.
God, Folky, you're such a sex machine. What? Folky? That's terrible. Terrible nicknames all around.
Yeah.
Faulkner simpered, mimicking Silver, and with a cry of defeat and a groan, Silver got up from the pool edge to sulk by the neatly pruned bushes, guarding the rose maze and garden. Gold chuckled at their interactions, finding the two very amusing indeed. They were such good friends, and Gold was deep down glad Silver had found someone like Faulkner to talk with, and essentially to have the silly teenage friendship that he should have but never had. Mm-hmm. After several heartbeats, Faulkner looked between Gold and Silver slowly before edging off and away. Gold, noticing this, was promptly answered by the archer. Silver's got something to say, so I guess this is I, my cute to go. I'll do, my sweet.
I guess this I, my cute.
Faulkner blew a kiss to Silver.
Why does Faulkner know what Silver apparently wants to say to Gold, too? What does Silver want to say to Gold?
We're gonna find out. Everything is gonna be okay. We're together now. Faulkner blew a kiss to Silver, who raised his eyebrows, unsure if he wanted to laugh or flip him off again, and grinning, Faulkner winked at Gold once more before disappearing off into the darkness, intent on finding Morty. Clearing his throat and turning back to look down at the redhead, Gold raised his eyebrows wordlessly.
What? Silver responded, feeling increasingly intelligent as the time passed, words somehow failing him at the most opportune of times. Wouldn't it be inopportune? He had never actually felt awkward around Gold before, but now... Yes, you have. But now a strange, funny knot in his stomach coiled and twisted as if his insides were packed with butterflies. It was strange, and the mercury-eyed male wasn't sure what to feel. It was new and unknown, and Silver felt like this was his time. How is this new? Like it was his time today who he really was, and what he could potentially be. Say?
I don't know.
He knew he could be that person. He just had to reach out and grab it.
Okay.
Take that last leap of faith and understand the final puzzle piece that was to be fitted into his development. Squeezing and wringing his hair out some more, Silver contemplated upon his feelings, the butterflies swirling nauseatingly yet delightfully in his belly. It made him feel alive. Truly, and like everything was going to be even better from now on. Silver looked up into Gold's strong features, quietly settled into a lax expression of calm and patience. Incredibly, yes, and Silver knew Gold had broken out of his clockwork.
Twice in one chapter? This is wild. This is a lot of title dropping.
Now it was his turn to allow those metaphorical cogs to grind, screeching to a rusty, grating halt. And still... in creaking, groaning submission.
This clockwork metaphor always is such a stretch.
Yeah.
Every single time it's brought up, it's just a stretch.
Every time. Even the first time.
It never makes sense.
Chapter.
Like, it never... I'm reaching for a drink, so I'm sorry if I'm out of frame. It never works the way we want it to. Yeah. Or the author, I think, intended. It always seems like you're trying too hard.
Mostly because I've used it 10 times. But also just in general, yeah, it doesn't really work. Or, yeah.
No, it just doesn't work.
He wanted to stop their methodical tick-tock, running and wheeling his life around a set of values he honestly didn't care for any longer. He never cared. Because he wasn't that Silver anymore. He was different. Biting his lower lip in thought, Silver looked up at Gold once more, finding the moon casting pale, glowing streaks across his tanned skin, splintering in graceful shards round their feet, splashing and reflecting white-hot off the surface of the pool. Cringing at the wet, soggy state of his whole being, Silver stood, noting how he had grown slightly. He used to come up just to Gold's chin, and now he was level with the bridge of his nose. You're how old? I mean, I guess he's still potentially growing a little.
I guess.
Yeah, guys usually aren't yet done by 18, I suppose.
I suppose.
But I don't know. This intrigued Silver, and then realized that it wasn't that he had grown. He had stood up properly, straightening his back and his poor, slouched posture to adopt a strong, much taller, confident pose.
Bullshit.
Yeah. You never slouched. The kind Green wore because he was brilliant and he knew it. Silver knew Gold has noted this change as well as he flicked his hawk golden eyes over his lover's form. Hawk golden. Seeing how he carried himself so much more different. So much more different than he had before as compared to yesterday. Silver was and had changed.
So much more different than he had before as compared to yesterday. Just think about that for a minute.
Silver was and had changed. Is also kind of... This is Gold, by the way.
Well done, Gold murmured, and Silver frowned lightly. For what? Gold gave him a grin, just a slight upturn of the corner of his mouth, and gestured to all of him. Silver stood directly in front of him, tasting his newfound self-assurance, and decided to give Gold a proper confession, because that was the least he owed him. The awful confession he had given before really did not even make the mark, and Silver felt like this was a good time to explain.
I love you. Gold tilted his head to one side, clearly questioning him, and Silver continued, hoping his hands wouldn't start to shake. Even if they did, he would blame it on the slight chill he was getting from the breeze. It's warm. Silver made eye contact with a honey-eyed male. Honey-eyed male. Is that new? Is honey new?
Yes.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just... The way you said, it's warm. It makes me think of that fucking... I'm thinking of the vocal inflection of the... Wait, what's that? Is that a butterfly?
It's me.
The way you said, it's warm. It made me think of that. It's like...
And if someone was confused, it's warm was not part of the
Right.
story. I just said that.
Right.
Because the breeze is warm.
You're like, it's a chilling breeze. It's warm. It'd be like, wait, what's that? Is that a chill breeze? It's warm. Like, I don't know. It's just what my brain did. I'm sorry.
But it's me. It's like...
It's me.
Honey-eyed male. Making sure they wouldn't waver, he continued.
Rip Vine.
But I used to hate you so much I could have killed you.
Jesus Christ.
I used to self-harm because I felt like I could carve a new existence out of myself. What does this have to do with loving him?
Yeah.
That's how I feel any other person who has experienced or experiencing what I used to do felt. Like you're insignificant. No one cares, so as a result, you don't care. You want to become someone better than who you are now, so you end up picking up the blade and cutting to try find a meaning in your life. It sounds depressing and sad, but that's exactly what we were. What? What we were.
What? Don't we? Gold never cut himself. Don't you we this. This was a you thing.
Silver briefly looked away to give himself a break from the fiery, passionate gaze of the taller man. Not teenager, not boy, man. That's kind of makes me think of, like, it's weird to refer to yourself as, like, I'm a woman. It's like,
What am I? Am I even real?
I'm not a girl. It's like, I'm not a lady. It sounds weird. It's like, woman, though. It's weirder. I don't know.
Woman sounds matronly to me.
Yeah, it's like, what's a good...
What am
female. I am female. I don't know.
I'm just a person.
I'm a person. We're all just people.
We're one race. The human race.
No, not boy. Man. Silver curled his hands up into loose fists, and then uncurled them. I used to cut myself because I felt like I had nothing for me in life. Like my only way to prove my existence was through the acceptation of my own stress on my pathetic life. If I could see my own suffering, I could become that absurd hero. Because I knew no other alternate reality.
What the fuck?
But I was wrong. Whilst to reflect and understand is man's worst enemy, it is also what makes us so brilliant. I met you and couldn't fathom how you could feel so many emotions like anger and hate and sadness and humiliation. You felt all of those. I guess I was apathetic back then.
You guess?
I guess a little, but not really, because you were angry all
felt
the
anger
time.
and hatred
You felt
and
all sorts
all
of
of those things.
And apparently depression, even though...
Oh, lots of depression. You were all depression all the time, my dude.
Yeah. Gold was now watching Silver carefully, listening to him explain his life, his personal thoughts, the ones that he never had time to listen to or even hear. It was interesting, and Gold never fully understood the depth of Silver's feelings had from him and from the depth of feelings Silver had from him from the start. We do that a lot. We have to stop and be like, da-da, like nodding along.
Because the rhythm of this writing is so weird. I wonder. This might be weird, but do you think this fic might be like an English translation of a fic that wasn't written in English? That might maybe explain why the I mean, I don't think... Actually, in reality, I don't think so.
Really.
But, like...
It's not worded that differently.
Like, like, you know, regular English speech is an iambic pentameter. Like, we just do it naturally without even thinking about it. So I was just wondering if the reason why this sometimes doesn't feel like it follows that is because it's not originally written in it. But maybe that's not the case. I don't know.
It seems more like they use a lot of Britishisms, though.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know.
I don't know. I was just wondering because...
Yeah.
I think every time we get caught up is
have we asked if English was our first language earlier?
Probably. I think
maybe
that,
it's like a second language, but I don't know.
I don't know. My thought is just like maybe that's why we keep getting caught up though, is every time it strays from what we're used to. Yeah.
I don't know. And then I moved on. I developed because of you and your annoying generosity. He wasn't generous. I didn't want help. I rejected it. I thought that all the world needed was me.
Huh?
You thought the world didn't need you for more, so I was introverted and silent. No, you weren't. And Green told me that all I could do was understand and see the world as it was and learn to live it. In it? He said that the condition I suffered from was my inability to accept myself. When did he say this?
Chapter 2. Probably. Chapter 2, probably. And do you think you can accept yourself?
I wish that I could.
Gold interjected. Don't bring them into this shit show.
We have so many times. It makes it better.
I know, but I don't want to associate them with this. Gold interjected, and Silver nodded without hesitation. Looking down at his scarred wrists, Silver knew he was okay with it.
I think I've known for a long time I was okay. Just I needed to establish it, solidify my foundations before I was ready to build upon the platform I've made. I don't regret this.
You know what? That's a good rule for makeup too. Have a solid foundation. The basis of every good look.
Yeah. Yeah. Silver muttered, tracing the raised, puffy scar tissue lining his wrist with an index finger. It shouldn't be raised and puffy still.
Right. No.
Scars heal. Sometimes it might be like raised, but puffy is no.
Yeah,
puffy
not
means
puffy.
like fresh or infected or something like that.
And if they've been...
It's been like 2 years.
If they've been infected for 2 years, you probably would die.
Yeah. He didn't regret his choice to self-harm, but he did regret his weakness. Why? That's like the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
You shouldn't regret that you were weak, but you should regret, like, hurting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the opposite of what you should do.
Regretting weakness is not a healthy thing.
Yeah, you can be weak. You can have moments of weakness or periods of weakness or however long it takes you to be weak. Whatever.
But, yeah, if you're going to regret something, regret that, not the...
Yeah, regret hurting yourself. But now he wasn't weak, and he knew his scars were a part of him. Ugly as they were, they were what made him him. And in all reality, Silver still didn't find himself that attractive, but he could definitely look in the mirror at all his flaws and still say he liked what he saw. All those scars, his awkward faint tan. Why is that awkward? Every popping blue vein under his pale skin. That's really pale. How does he have a faint tan but also blue veins? That's impossible. Each blemish and crease of his skin, the faint acne pockmarks he still had from his pre-adolescence. Wouldn't it be adolescence? Wouldn't pre-adolescence be before you could get puberty? And days, how his long hair would grow limp and lanky and tangled over the course of the day, that his lips were never that soft, always chapped because he didn't like the taste of petroleum gel and the fact that his dark, foxy red hair would grow a hideous... I guess. His dark, foxy red hair would grow a hideous, carroty orange at the tips as the split ends thinned out, so cut it. Giving the impression he had dyed his hair at the bottom. That's also kind of a look people go for sometimes. Silver found looking at all those insignificant details that weren't attractive in the slightest. All right. And that was how far his confidence had grown. That's what mattered. Even if other people thought he was attractive, even if that one person happened to be Gold Hunter, the redhead knew he was fine with that.
I know you don't. What's he replying to? I don't regret this. Okay. I know you don't. Gold replied simply, nothing else and nothing less than.
Gold, I want you to know I never imagined...
Me too. Gold interrupted. Annoying as ever. One of the negative traits that Silver found so endearing about him. Silver frowned lightly at him, willing him to shut up for a bit to let him finish.
I never told you thank you.
Hmm?
No, because I wouldn't be here without you.
Say that to Green, Gold retorted, and Silver rolled his eyes, punching his lover on the shoulder gently, in punishment for being a dick.
But you were thinking the exact same thing like earlier. Like, I wouldn't have lived without Green.
Yep.
Even worse than without Gold, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. I know.
No, I mean it. If you hadn't forced my hand to hurt myself and then backslapped that in my face by helping me out, he didn't force you to hurt yourself. Force your hand to hurt yourself.
Oh, boy.
He didn't make you want to hurt yourself, really. Whatever.
Oh, boy.
And then backslap that in my face by helping me out. I wouldn't be here because I would have bled out ages ago. And I just want to tell you that you were a big factor in helping me essentially get over it.
Glad to be of help, princess.
Why is he calling him princess?
Gold smirked at him, and Silver almost considered throwing one of his shoes at the golden-eyed male. Do it!
That would make you a princess, true.
Okay, but he deserves it. Silver sighed and shook his head before looking back up at the moon.
You're an asshole, he growled, and Gold snickered. You're a big, fat asshole, Silver reiterated. Gold's grin only grew wider. Stop it! Spelling.
No, not now. Not in Clockwork. IT. I'm not doing anything, the taller male spluttered as Silver took a threatening, or he liked to think it was, step towards him. Deciding to humor him, Gold pouted, pulling the most ridiculous look that did not suit his features. Snorting back his laughter, Silver rolled his eyes before holding out his hand to the solid male.
Is this Silver?
Yes.
I have something to show you. Taking Silver's hand, Gold allowed himself to be tugged through the rose maze to the beach. Footprints littered the sand, along with the telltale prints of Morty's awful beach sandals, telling them both the blonde and Faulkner had been and were now long gone, possibly getting frisky someplace illegal. Gold turned to Silver quizzically. Then Silver closed his eyes, feeling the cool breeze rush across his still, damp figure. I'm not Clockwork.
3 times in one chapter, and I am over
Gold
it.
smiled and interlaced their fingers.
No. Silver looked at their connected hands and felt his heart skip a beat, and color flood his cheeks. Gold chuckled quietly and looked out across the vast ocean, and felt like for once, normal was beneath them. That they walked amongst the stars. They were so high on each other. Silver felt like if he was lame enough to say it, let alone think it, that he could feel the new life they could have together sparkling at his fingertips, ready to come to fruition. You're not Clockwork. I'm not Clockwork. No one is. Is that 6'7"? 5'6"?
What?
5'6" or 6'7"?
What are you talking about?
Clockwork references.
Oh. Are we counting this not last one?
Just this chapter. Just this whole chapter.
Because it'd be like 3 if this was like this entire scene was counted as one. Otherwise, but yeah.
Oh my god, I'm over it.
Otherwise, it'd be 3, 4, 5.
So 4, 5. Okay. Gold stated. Silver didn't respond.
Unless I guess you're kind of like every time they say the word Clockwork, then there was like 7 or so before that because they said Clockwork.
It's a lot. I can't remember the last time I said Clockwork to anyone outside of the context of this fic. Gold stated. Silver didn't respond, still relishing the night on his skin.
But then he's responding. Whatever. Then what are we? Silver asked as he looked at his partner out of the corner of his eyes. Gold shrugged.
Human. And whilst we will one day have to succumb to the cycle of life and death, you are a free agent. You aren't a machine. You have the power to do what you want in life. So take the opportunities and enjoy them. Gold smiled warmly, feeling his mind blank as he watched the surprise flicker across the redhead's pale features, but quickly replaced by an adorable, quiet smile, but no less dazzling. Squeezing the smaller, warm hand in his own, Gold took a deep breath and looked up at the moon and the stars and thanking every single deity in the world that they were here tonight. Silver glanced at Gold and focused on the feeling. They stayed like that for a while until Gold was leading him away. To God knows where, and Silver let him take him, pulling him through the veil into their bright future. They would do this. Together. Like clockwork. Finn.
What the heck? They say clockwork 7 times.
6 times.
6 times.
Because you have to disclude the... Yeah, 6 times if you don't include the title. Oh my god, guys.
So that's the end.
We did it!
We did it. We should have been drunk. That would have been a great finale.
Oh my god, I can't believe we made
finished.
it. Guys,
We were right, it was so dramatic.
I'm mad that
We never did see greener.
It was them fucking, and it was a problematic fucking scene to begin with. Oh, I'm disappointed.
A bit.
Wow, this was a journey.
It was a trip.
It
was a ride, a wild ride.
This is a long time to dedicate to one thing. But oh my god, we did it.
Yeah, it averaged like an hour or so per episode. But like this is like 59 hours.
Actually,
Maybe
it's like 50
less.
hours of our life.
Yeah.
Of everyone's lives. Wow, though. That's is
like 2 full days. That's just to watch Clockwork through entire double speed.
Still would take you a whole day. Oh my god, but
that'll be a thing that we can do as a friend group. Just spend 24 hours watching Clockwork.
It's like the Harry Potter marathon. But Clockwork, oh my god, that's wild.
Oh god.
Wow, I don't know how I feel. I'm amazed that we made it all the way through.
Now on to the 1 billion word fic.
I want to read that. I do want to read that.
Oh god.
I don't know.
We could do it for like charity or something. Have it be like a live stream and then just
maybe
do it for like 70 hours.
Maybe.
Then one person reads it while the other person leaves, and then you just keep switching on.
It'd be like the 72-hour Animal Crossing speedrun that I'm still watching.
You haven't finished that yet?
No, I haven't watched it in months.
I figured.
But Rec Room charity event reading the world's longest fan fiction with no breaks. We start and we don't finish till we're done. 200 chapters. 250 chapters.
200 days later. Straight through.
I'm making a pit. Anyways, but wow, we made it. We made it and we did it, and overall, it was alright.
Yeah.
Not the worst, not the best. Alright.
Alright.
You have anything?
It's been an experience. I'm glad that it was recommended to us.
Oh, me too. Yes. Big shout out to Pokey Cookie.
We have enjoyed it for the most part.
Yes. I was skeptical that we'd make it because I remember when we first got it over a year ago, I was like, oh, jeepers, 59. But here we are. We did it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Pokey
How
Cookie,
many
too,
words
for everything you did for this.
We're gonna go up to the top.
Oh, we just read, by the way.
We finished reading 325,089 words.
Woo!
I read fan fictions at length, and like I spend like a day doing it, maybe not a day, but like multiple hours.
Well,
but it took us like 50.
It took us a year.
We get distracted. Yeah, it took us a year. We get distracted. We
comment. I know.
It takes longer to read out loud than it does in your head.
Anyway. thank you guys
for sticking with us through all this.
I want to give the spiel, but at the same time I don't, because I'm just like, you know what, this was a journey, and if you made it all the way through, that is awesome.
And you've heard pretty much all of our opinions on everything.
You know the spiel. But
are we gonna rate it? We haven't done that.
Oh my god, we haven't rated in forever. So it's out of 5, right?
Usually, yeah.
I'm going to give this fic 3.5 gears out of 5.
Cogs.
Yours is cogs, mine is gears. Out of 5. That's my rating. If I seem checked out, by the way, it is now 2:12 in the morning, and I have been up since 8 a.m. the previous morning.
Half hour from here.
But thank you for tuning in. If you have a fic you'd like us to read, leave it down below.
We are now open.
We can now start reading a fic that is not Clockwork, which is amazing. So leave that down below, and we'll check it out on the show. And just thank you for being awesome. Thank you for tuning in. If you like us, please subscribe. Please like the video. Favorite it too if you want, because why not? Share with your friends.
Suggest other things if you want something other than fanfiction.
Yeah. Let us know what you want to see.
We can do stuff. I need to get around to doing another ASMR video.
Yes, you do. But
apparently someone liked that, so.
Thank you guys again. You guys are the best.
I'll do it eventually.
We will see you next week Friday.
Next year, April Fool.
We will see you next week Friday with
something new.
The unknown. Peace out.
Wait.
Yeah, that.